we were talking about how to get your money right. And especially this morning, after we've had a couple of little technical things happen, let us get into a space of meditation to put ourselves in the proper framework to do what we got to do and get the lesson today. So let's just close our eyes. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Let it out slowly. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Let it out slowly. And in this space of rest and relaxation, I am at peace with myself. Let us affirm that together. I am at peace with myself. Once more, I am at peace with myself. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. And in this space of peace and relaxation, my mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let us say that together. My mind is open, receptive, and ready to learn. Let that sink in. Take a deep breath. Let it out slowly. All right. You know, today's topic is, and this is Success Mentorship class number 231. And our topic today is how to get my money right. How to get your money right. I love to begin with a quote, and it says this: wealth is a mindset. Let's just let that sink in. Wealth is a mindset. And when we think about this idea, wealth is a mindset, what are we saying? Let's lay some foundation for that. We have to realize that it's critical to solve the riddle of survival. And that riddle of survival is to do what is necessary to put yourself, your family. You know, companies operate based on the riddle of survival. If a company is not making money, they go out of business, they cut staff, they close offices. In our lives, we don't necessarily do that. So often we'll be losing money and have more month at the end of the money, and we'll keep going. So we have to begin to live our lives like a corporation. And when I say solve the riddle of survival, put our lives in a profit-making situation. So that means, number one, you have to know what you need to be viable financially. You have to know what you need to live on, to take care of yourself, to take care of your family. Once you know, and I call that ground zero, once you know ground zero, then now you can direct your energies and your resources to creating an income from a business, from investments, to take care of you without any further input from yourself. So once you solve that riddle of survival, you're free. Until that time, you may live crisis to crisis. Number two, the mindset should be transferred from survival to thrival. So many times we think about surviving. You know, I hear some of the young people, I just want to pay my bills. I just want to pay my rent. I just want to keep my phone on. Well, the challenge with that kind of thinking is that's all that's going to happen. If all you're doing is keeping your phone on, paying the rent, that's the mindset that you're operating in. So that just really bolsters that idea that money is a mindset, wealth is a mindset. So we have to change our mindset from moving crisis to crisis to moving opportunity to opportunity. See every event, every situation is an opportunity. Someone once said, Dr. Harris, life does not work like that. Well, guess what? There are people who make money no matter what. whether the Democrats in or the Republicans in, whether the economy is up, whether the economy is down, whether the stock market is up, stock market is down, there are people who always make money. And why? Because they have a mindset. They ask a question, whatever situation presents itself, they say, how can I transform this into a financial benefit? Powerful mindset. We must be committed to be prosperous no matter what. When we have our backs against the wall, we do incredible things. I guarantee you, think about this. The last time you were behind in your mortgage, your lights were about to be shut off, your phone was going off, you found creative ways to deal with it. You found ways to overcome it. You found money where there was no money. You figured out a way to handle stuff. You know, many years ago, I wanted a sports car. And a friend of mine owned a car lot. And I kept riding by. And for over 6 months, this particular sports car was sitting there on the parking lot, on the car lot. So finally one day I went over, I said, man, you know what? I got a deal. He said, what? I said, let me drive your sports car, put a sign on the side, giving your name and phone number, and I'll be like a moving billboard. It's been sitting out here 6 months, you haven't sold it yet. Now I sweetened the pot a little bit. I said, let's work out something. I know as a dealer, you have insurance issues. And so I said, maybe we can set it up as a lease, and then I can go on and get my own insurance. You know, when you lease a car, you have to get your own insurance. Man, he thought about it. And so for the next 6 months, really almost a year, I drove around a beautiful sports car, and all I did was pay the insurance. Now, I was honorable about it. I told him we were going to put a sign on the door. I kept that sign. You know, those are magnetic things that go on the door. You know, one of the things about creating money and attracting money is you have to be authentic. People have to believe you and trust you. But that was it, getting an outcome for which I did not have what you might say the money to make it happen. So many of us get consumed by appearances that we're not inspired by possibilities. I'm going to say that again. So many of us get consumed by appearances so that we are not inspired by possibilities. In order to get your money right, you're going to have to see your money right. You're going to have to see how your life would be if your money was right. And right meaning if your money was sufficient to take care of you in the lifestyle that you want. We talked about, this topic has been rumbling in my head, and at one point I followed the Napoleon Hill model, and I interviewed, every time I was doing a podcast, and for about 3 years I did the podcast, and one of the questions I asked was like, what's the key to getting rich? What's the key to making money? What's the key to wealth? And over that period of time, we came up with basically 9 keys, and I'll share them with you. And you know, the one thing I found in interviewing different people was the same things kept coming up time and time again, which says to you that those principles work regardless. Doesn't matter whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you're white, whether you're black, but the principles work regardless. So let's look at what are the principles that can take you from where you are to where you want to be. Principle number 1, your money will never be right until you take responsibility for it. So principle number 1 is take responsibility for your life and affairs, but take responsibility to create the money, the cash flow that you need to be stable, that you need to be happy, that you need to take care of your family and yourself. We may not be able to control external circumstances, but we are always able to control our response to those circumstances. And so stuff is happening that's negative. We just had a pandemic. Do you know there are people who made money in the pandemic? We're in a recession right now. You know, and it's all about which side of the street you're on. We're in a recession right now where the citizens are suffering. You know, you almost need 2 credit cards to buy a loaf of bread. But the people who own the businesses, the corporations, are making record profits. I mean, you think about this, when a corporation reports that its profits have gone up 300%, that means that they've done everything they could tax-wise to hide that money. And so after they've taken every deduction imaginable, after they've done everything possible, they still show the 300% profit. So while one group is suffering, another group is making money. When we see all the prices going, inflation is created by people who control the resources. So the point is, when you take responsibility for your life, you decide where you want to be in the chain, in the money chain. Number 2, realize that everything begins in thought. The first law of success says, a man shall have whatsoever he thinks. I like to make it universal. A mind shall have whatsoever it thinks in its heart. And the heart is your feeling nature. And so what the first law of success says, that if you can think it, you can do it. If you feel it. I'm going to say that again. If you think it, you can do it if you feel it. There are people who talk wealth, but live poverty. There are people who talk on the path, but live in the grass. You've seen people talk about how successful they are, and then they're concerned about how much something costs, or they're concerned about, I'll tell you, one of the people that always fascinated me, Andrew Carnegie. You go around the country, you'll see so many Carnegie libraries. But Andrew Carnegie, as a businessman, hated to pay his workers a living wage. He was a terrible employer. Welcome, Don. He was a terrible employer. At one point, Andrew Carnegie and his associate, I think his name was Frick, they literally got arms to make people go off strike. They even killed some people. And so once again, the idea of the money is what side of the fence are you on. You don't have to be an Andrew Carnegie. Now he turned around, took the money, he built thousands of libraries, which helped people. But the people who worked for him, they paid a price. So everything begins in thought, and thought must be combined with feeling. So if you're feeling money, if you're feeling rich, if you're feeling prosperous, and you're thinking money, thinking rich, and thinking prosperous, it happens. You create that magnetic field that attracts into your space that you desire. Scripture says, seek first the kingdom, and all these things will be added unto you. Kingdom is consciousness. So when you seek the consciousness of money, the consciousness of wealth, money is just, really and truly, money means nothing. Take a $100 bill. If we didn't agree it meant something, it wouldn't be worth a doodle. It's just a piece of paper. And so money is really about exchange of value. And so when you talk about that money beginning in thought, is if you think certain things, you can get the equivalent of money from your thoughts. Johnny Coleman, Reverend Johnny Coleman in Chicago, one of her great quotes was, money is the getting potential of your self-image. And so when you want to make your money right, make your feelings right, make your thoughts right, so that your thoughts and your feelings are congruent. And then you'll attract all the money you need. Number 3, have a written vision. Scripture is so clear on this. Where there's no vision, the people perish. The other side of that says, but he that keepeth the law, happy is he. Happy is she. So the thought is, if you have no vision, then that's like having a GPS with no destination. It's worthless. The other side of that, the Habakkuk says, write the vision, make it plain upon tablets, that he may run that readeth it. Though it may tarry, wait for it. It will surely come to pass. So what are we saying here? We're saying that when you have a vision, first you must have a vision of what your life will be if your goals are achieved. And let's be more specific. You must have a vision of what your life would be if you have the money you say you want. Secondly, you must write that vision down. So once again, money has no value, but money translates into lifestyle. Money translates into possession. Money translates into confidence. Now, you don't trust in money. Okay, that's a whole nother story. But as a working process, more divorces are caused by money issues, financial issues. Most arguments are somehow based on financial issues. You look at Elon Musk and Twitter. Right now, they're going to court over what? Financial issues. And so to understand it's money, but it's about the value that's associated with it. And so when you have that written vision, describe how your life would be if you had the money that you want. Very interesting piece here. Give you an example. Person says, I'd like to be happy, me and my family. Well, me, my spouse, 2 kids. Okay, so what does happy mean? Well, happy means I have to have a place to live, and I have a boy and a girl, I want them to have their own bedroom. So that means I really need a 3-bedroom apartment or house. I like to work at home, so maybe I need a study area, another room to work in. And so now, this vision now translates into dollars. If you live in New York and you need a 3 or 4-bedroom apartment, you're going to probably pay $6,000 a month. If you want to own it in New York, you're going to probably pay a couple million. So now you can translate the lifestyle that you want into the money required to put it together. Everybody follow me on that? Once you have your written plan, number 4, make the necessary changes in your life. So going back to that example, if you need the 3-bedroom house for your kids and whatnot, then now you have to be committed to make the changes to bring that about. So maybe it means you need to make more money. Well, how can you make more money? Well, maybe you need to get a second job. Maybe you need to work harder at that promotion. You know, many times people want, in the corporate environment, there's some people that want the promotion to have the prestige and the power. There are others that want the promotion to provide the money to facilitate their dreams. That's personal. But the idea is you must be committed. Once you have that vision, you must be committed to make the changes necessary to attract the money into your life to create the lifestyle you want. When you're on a job, that may mean, okay, let me find out who I need to get close to, who I need to impress to get the raise I need. The president of one of the local colleges here just got a $30,000 a year raise, I think a 10% raise. And everybody's kind of beefing about it. It's like, what value has he added to the university that would warrant a 30% raise? The flip side of that is, if you want that raise, then figure out how you can add value to your company. If you're in your own business, figure out what changes can you make to add value to your business. Maybe you need to make more calls. Maybe you need to learn some new skills. But make the necessary changes in your life. That's step number 4. Number 5. This is critical. Build a team. And I think many of us kind of resist that. And maybe it's our ego. Maybe we've been disappointed so many times with people who don't do what they say they're going to do. It's like you have a negative mindset, like, I'm not going to deal with you all because you're not going to do what you say. And we know it's going to end up badly. But you have to put a team together. You look, everybody knows Steve Jobs. Very few people know Steve Wozniak. Are the other people on the team that began the foundation of Apple. Steve Jobs understood that he needed a team. His gift was creating the idea, the mindset, and to go find the money. Steve Wozniak, for example, was able to put the stuff together, the machine, the mechanics of it. It's important to build a team. One, spiritual principle. Two or more gather on one accord gives you a greater foundation, a greater impact. You can get more done. Your power is magnified through other people. 1 + 1 is more than 2. But then on the negative side, don't surround yourself by people dumber than you, people less skilled than you, people less impactful than you. You see, one of the challenges, our ego is always pushing us. And so many times our ego will want to surround ourselves with people who are yes men and yes women to confirm whatever we already know. The problem is you're violating spiritual principle because you don't have 2 or more gathering on one accord. You got one person operating by themselves and a group of people doing what they say, what he tells them to do, what she tells them to do. Surround yourself with people who can compensate for your own shortcomings. You know, back to number 1, when we said take responsibility, a part of the responsibility that you must take to get your money right is to know who you are and what you're about. You see, when you're clear on that, now you know your shortcomings. You know, hey, I need a person who's a better front man. I'm a back man. I'm a number 1. I'm a great number 2 person. In the corporate world, I had a friend and he said, I said, you're always the vice president. Don't you ever want to be president? He said, nope. He said, I find that my skill is to be a number 2 person. I'm the best number 2 person in the world. And let me tell you, he went from this one's assistant to that one's assistant, and he was paid highly. I mean, he was paid higher than some of the vice presidents and other people in other areas because he understood his value and knew how to translate that value into results, into money. So that team is critical. Surround yourself with people who you want to be with when you get where you want to go. Surround yourself with people who want to go the same direction, who can help you get there. Number 6. We've heard it, but without it, it doesn't happen. Make a plan. Make a written plan. Without a written plan, you wake up each day and say, what do I have to do today? You wake up each day wondering what you should do. Let me tell you something. There's a song we wrote years ago and it was called Roads. And you know, I think all of us go through those periods in our lives. We don't know what we're doing. It's like we're lost. And I know it's happened to me, and I'm sure it's happened to many of you. And as a songwriter, you know, you write kind of what reflects your emotional state. And the song was called Roads, and the words were, wandering down the path that is my life, wondering if I'm ever gonna make it. Have you ever been there? When all the stuff you're doing doesn't seem to be bearing fruit, wandering down the path that is my life, wondering if I'm ever gonna make it. The second passage says, looking around the corners I cannot see, wondering what life holds for me. Sometimes we're in that state. But that's why we have to take responsibility to get ourselves out that state, put ourselves in a functioning position so that when we now make that written plan, we understand the value of the plan. We understand how critical it is to make that plan manifest. Many times we often say, when we look at your dreams, there are 2 questions to ask. What will my life look like if I accomplish my dreams, if I attract the money necessary? And the other question is, what will my life look like if I don't live my dreams, if I don't attract the money? And that can be the seed of your why. So that written plan. Plans are the fingers of fate, and the actions are its feet, which takes us to number 7. Take continuous action. And when I say continuous, I mean daily, moment to moment action. You can't just jump on the path and think you can cruise. The path is always uphill. Every mountain, there's no mountain you go down. You only go down once you've been to the top. So it's always about an uphill journey. And so you always have to take continuous action to live in day-tight compartments. Don't let yesterday's failures impede tomorrow's possibility. Set daily goals. Live your life in such a way at the end of each day you can say, I did everything I could with what I had to do it with to make my life the way I want it to be. Number 8, monitor your progress. Folks, you notice how you get to the day is Saturday. You ever look up and say, wow, where did the week go? What did I do on Monday? What did I do on Tuesday? Clue, note to self, if you did not have written action plans for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, on Saturday morning, when you sit by the river here and you ask yourself, what did I do on Monday? I guarantee most of us can't remember. Tuesday can't remember that either. And forget last Monday. One of the reasons for writing the plans and keeping a written evidence of your activity is now you can go back and monitor your progress. You can recap and see what does not work and what does work, and then act accordingly. And finally, number 8, the biggie. Finally, number 9. Number 9 says keep going and growing. That attracting money, that doing your money checkup, doing your wealth assessment, it's an evolutionary process. As you climb the mountain of consciousness, the more you see, the more you realize there is to see. When you're in the forest, all you see are trees. Once you climb the mountain of consciousness, now you can see rivers. You go a little higher, you can see oceans. You can see clouds. As you grow in consciousness, in thought, in feeling, in understanding, in wisdom, you increase your value and you attract the money into your life that you need. So how do you get your money right? Number 1, take responsibility for the money that you have and the money that you desire and the money that you get. Number 2, realize that everything begins in thought. So have a wealth consciousness, have a value consciousness, have a money consciousness, not paper, but value. That consciousness that when I give more value to myself, to my skills, to my knowledge, to my assets, I attract more money. Number 3, write your vision. Where there's no vision, you will fail. Where there's no destination, your success GPS will not work. 4, make the necessary changes. Once you've done this analysis, once you've looked at what has to be done to change your life, make the necessary changes. Those of you who don't have our home study course, that's what this is all about. So you may want to go to our website, herbertharris.info, and get that home study course. But this is where the rubber hits the road. How do you make those necessary changes to bring about the life you desire? 5, build that team. Surround yourself with people who compensate for your shortcomings, who know more, who have more, who can inspire you. 6, develop your written plan. Write it down. Read it over 3-4 times a day. If you don't, it won't happen. Number 5, take continuous action. The Bible says, whatsoever your hand findeth to do, do it with all your might. Work diligently, incessantly, to create the life of your dreams, to attract the money that you need. Number 8, monitor your progress. Keep score. If you don't monitor your progress, you won't know where you are. Your GPS can tell you make a left, make a right, turn around. If you don't monitor your progress, you won't be able to keep up with it. J.P. Morgan, one of the great financiers of the 1800s, early 1900s. J.P. Morgan, every day, had a list. He knew exactly how much money he had. Every day, he added up his money. He said, I got $7,286.19. You have to do the same thing, monitor your progress. And finally, keep going and growing. My dad used to say, straighten up and fly right. I'm like, what does that mean? Ha! He says, straighten up means to know where you're going. And fly right means to know how to get there. So let's straighten up and fly right. Attract all the money we desire into our lives by giving more value to everything we encounter, to the people, to the businesses, and to the world. Then we can always be what we want to be, do what we want to do, and have whatever we want to have. Always knowing that the best is yet to come. Whew. Wow. Thanks so much for being with us today. Those of you who are watching on Instagram, on Facebook, share your comments. Any thoughts, what you've learned from this money journey, getting your money right. Share the broadcast with other people. Be sure to get your copy of the 12 Universal Laws of Success. And check out that home study course. You know, the more I go through these talks, I realize everybody learns at a different rate. And when you have something that you can work on yourself at your pace to change your life, that's a good tool. Go to herbertharris.info, www.herbertharris.info. So folks, I'm going to get back to my family reunion. We're getting ready to go on a heritage tour this morning up into the woods, the backwoods of Columbus and Bladen counties, and we're with the Spalding family, and this is a very unique family that was freed. The original Ben Spalding was freed in 1799, and over the years they have created financial and social and all kinds of positive changes. And so we're going back to where it all started, to the homestead. The cemetery where the original Spalding is buried is still there, and many of the descendants are there. So we're going on that journey today. So anyway, folks, be sure to go to our website, www.herbertharris.info. And remember this, you can be what you want to be, do what you want to do, and have whatever you want to have, always knowing that the best is yet to come. And so it is.